Okay, so these next two are going to be a little interesting for me because these were actually first time watches. I'd never seen these ones before, so let's do it. Exorcist The Beginning was released in 2004, directed by Rennie Harlin, starring Stellan Skarsgård. And these two movies, these next two have a very interesting story. They're technically the same movie, but they're also kind of not. Paul Schrader had his own version filmed and ready to go, and the studio didn't really like it, so they had Rennie Harlin come in, make his own version of pretty much the same story, but make it a little more action oriented. So this is the first cut. This is kind of like the Snyder Cut before the Snyder Cut debacle was a thing. This is the Justice League version, and then Dominion is kind of like the Snyder Cut version. It's just a really weird situation. So like I said, I've never seen these two before, so let's go ahead and start this review off, starting off with the good. And first of all, you have Stellan Skarsgård in this movie as a younger version of Father Merrin, and I think he does a really great job. Stellan Skarsgård is a very accomplished actor. He's one of the greatest of all time, in my opinion, and he has more than proven himself as a very accomplished actor. Now, as Father Merrin, he's not Max von Sydow, but he still does a really, really great job in the role. He's a much younger Merrin. You see him struggling with his faith throughout the movie, and I really like that aspect of his performance here. It gave Father Merrin a really great character depth that he didn't really get in the original because, like I said, when I was reviewing the original, he wasn't in it a whole bunch. It mainly focused on Father Karras. This one gives Father Merrin a backstory, and I really liked the backstory that they gave him. And on top of that, you get some really great set designs. You get this desert setting, and I really love all the background set designs that they are able to pull off. And when we do have practical effects, I really like the practical effects in this movie. I think they did a really great job with that. And the atmosphere is pretty good. It's not great, mind you, but it's good. This is honestly far less of a horror film, in my opinion, and it's much more of an action film. They try to make this movie more of a Exorcist meets Indiana Jones type thing, I feel like. And it's not terrible. I'll get a little bit to the tonal imbalance later, but I do enjoy the story here. It's more of an origin story for Father Merrin and finding his faith and becoming more the Father Merrin that we know from the original Exorcist. And I just really like the journey that Merrin goes on in this film. When we do have the horror elements, they are pretty good, and they're, for the most part, effective. But that's about all for the good. On to the bad. And there's also just some stuff that I'm not a fan of in this movie. First of all, like I said, there is a big tonal imbalance in this movie. They tried to go more for an action movie approach than a horror movie approach. And for the Exorcist franchise, that just does not work for me. They really try to cut out all the horror and make it more of an action movie. I'm not a fan of that. I really wanted this franchise to stay within the horror genre. I don't mind a little bit of action, but I feel like they made it more of a war movie in this cut of the film. And on top of that, you have some really bad CGI in this movie. Like Dwayne Johnson in The Mummy Returns, bad CGI. Yeah, it's early 2000s CGI. It's prequel Star Wars era CGI. You know what kind of CGI I'm talking about when I say that. But yeah, there's some real bad CGI that kind of takes me out of the film. And then the third act of this movie, it just felt a little too anticlimactic for me. I don't know what they were trying to go for, and also the movie just kind of ends. It doesn't really have a solid conclusion, in my opinion. It just ends. It's over. Uh, yeah, but that's about all for the bad. On to the final thoughts. I don't hate this movie, but it's not great. It's better than the second movie, but it's nowhere near the level of 1 and 3. Exorcist, the beginning, is a mess of a movie, but it has enough stuff to like about it, and I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10. That was my thoughts on Exorcist, the beginning. Have you seen this movie? What do you think about it if you have seen it? And as always, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.